Fellow St. Lucians, this week we pause to reflect on the life-changing lessons learned from the devastating passage of Hurricane Tomas 1 year ago. Tomas was easily the biggest natural disaster in our modern history, and while it left 7 people dead, 5 unaccounted for or missing, many injured, and many more torn away from their normal lives, it also reminded us of the outstanding character of the St. Lucian citizen, especially when the chips are down in times of adversity. Because of how well St. Lucians looked out for each other, stood up for each other, assisted each other, shared acts of kindness with each other, and committed themselves to the speedy recovery of their beloved country, it is easy to forget the huge challenge of reconstruction that Tomas left with us on October 31st, 2011. Fate has ordained that our brothers and sisters whose peace were turned to turmoil in the ravage of Tomas now rest in peace with souls of the faithfully departed. They lost their lives in a rare display of nature's wrath. We mourned with their families and friends, with the entire nation, with the people of the world who understand and appreciate how powerless we are when Mother Earth decides to send her children into the unknown. Our brave struggle with Tomas stood us all throughout the length and breadth of St. Lucia to come together as one people and one nation under the guiding hand of a higher power. It was at that time, I think, we took little time to count our blessings and to recognize that there is nothing so wrong about us that cannot be changed for the better by what is right about us. We are good, loving, positive people who want the best for each other. And in those moments of truth, when the raging flood waters and angry winds of Tomas brought us to our knees, we embraced the ties that bind us together as part of the human family in this piece of paradise we proudly call home. Today, as we mark the official Day of Remembrance, I salute the heroes of our recovery from widespread destruction, the courageous people of this land, who spared no effort in the good that they could do for the causes that needed their assistance, and against the threats of looming failure in the distance. Today, we join hands and hearts as we reflect on an encounter with disaster that brought new meaning to our lives forever. These scenes of unprecedented damage to the physical, social, and economic infrastructure of our island underlined the complexity and enormity of the challenge to rebuild. This was by far one of the worst disasters to have struck this nation. More than 24 inches of rain over a 24-hour period. Soufrière, Bexar, and Mark were the hardest hit areas. The Choc and Bois d'Orange bridges collapsed. The John Compton Dam, the main source of water, was disabled. There were 19 landslides on the Bad Lille alone. Electricity and telephone services were severely disrupted. Damaged hotels closed their doors. Visitors packed up and made their way back home as St. Lucians struggled to repair the damaged properties and bring their lives back to normal. The Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean estimated the damage inflicted on St. Lucia by Tomas at $907 million EC. For many, especially those in the south, it was a steep climb back from the brink of near total disaster. 1 year later, there is still a lot to be done, but quite a lot to smile about. This fateful day was October 31, 2010, a Sunday. The nation tried to catch its breath on Monday, 1st November, and by Tuesday, 2nd November, Castries was open for business. The electricity and cell phone services were back up and in quick time, and the restoration of the water service, initially estimated to take 6 months, was achieved in a matter of weeks. The Choc and Bois d'Orange bridges went back into use within 48 hours. Numerous lines across the island were cleared in record time. The first cruise ship after Tomas docked on Sunday, November 7th, exactly 1 week after the storm, with supplies of water for a nation that was without its main source of potable water. All told, it has been an exciting year, ticking off the checklist, the many things that the government and people of St. Lucia have had to do together in the cause of bringing relief and comfort to those in need and bringing the nation back to full fitness. As I speak, work has commenced on the $1 million housing investment in Mocha for Saint-Jacques for the benefit of those who were affected by Hurricane Tomas in that part of the island. After extensive investigative and assessment works and detailed and tedious procurement processes, work will also begin soon in restoring some of the affected areas on the Badlil. These works will be undertaken with funding from the government of St. Lucia. Work on the Badlil will be ongoing as we continue negotiations with the Caribbean Development Bank in order to secure funding to tackle the remaining 7 sites which require attention. Keep in mind that Tomas ravaged us with $907 million of damage at a time when we were grappling with the economic fallout around the world caused by the crisis in major financial markets. In 2010, the year of Tomas, over 1 million tourists visited St. Lucia, and our record-breaking stay-over numbers drove a 30% increase in visitor spending, which reached the $1.5 billion mark for the first time ever. Before Tomas, we were on course for a truly incredible year of tourism performance. Unfortunately, Tomas pushed our November 2010 numbers down by 36%, and December 2010 was down 4% before we started to climb back up with a 4% increase in January 2011. In spite of these setbacks, St. Lucia emerged as the largest economy in the OECS and the leading economic performer in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union with GDP growth of 4.4%. St. Lucia was the largest contributor to foreign exchange earnings in the grouping and managed its affairs with a smaller debt burden than Antigua, Dominica, Grenada, and St. Kitts and Nevis. Just last week, the World Bank rated St. Lucia as the best place to do business in the Caribbean. Consider for a moment not just how very well we have performed in extremely challenging circumstances, but how much further we would have been in our economic development journey if we had not been so adversely impacted by Tomas. Yet, the setback of Tomas has given us the opportunity to review critical aspects of our infrastructure development and to make critical design and implementation changes for more lasting success. We also embrace the opportunity to tighten our focus on timely delivery of the many community improvement projects funded by our friends from Taiwan. To those who believe we are a government of projects, we say the development and completion of these projects of the people, by the people, for the people, is an important component of our leadership responsibility to ensure the greatest good for the greatest number. It is easy to ridicule and criticize the so-called T-Canal projects that take care of real needs of people when you have no clue what it is like to live with the inconvenience of those basic needs. As the record of performance clearly indicates, our leadership in government has been as much about a national vision for big picture economic progress and social advancement as it has been about the little things that matter to the people in communities all around St. Lucia. We lead through our service to our fellow men and women, and in that endeavor, we make no excuses for giving priority attention to their economic livelihood, education, healthcare, and youth development, alongside the safety and comfort of their neighborhoods. We are thankful for the many donors locally and overseas who came to our assistance in this time of great need. We thank the many volunteers, the law enforcement agencies, the utility companies, the private sector, the members of the clergy, the leaders of civil society, those who took our message to the world via traditional news and media platforms, and not forgetting our ministers of government, parliamentarians, and all those who in one way or another helped our nation to be where it is today. In the worst of times, in the clutches of a global economic crisis, under the devastation of a killer storm, your government remained firm in its commitment to facilitate the people's determination to win, the desire to celebrate the success of their work together, and the need to give thanks and praise for an abundance of blessings. Tomas has left us with the important lesson of Team St. Lucia's capacity for outstanding human development results, even in adversity. 1 year later, that lesson of triumph shines a light of hope for a future of greater prosperity and progress for all. As we look forward to a bright and prosperous future, let us all come together as one united in vision and purpose, determined to build a stronger and united St. Lucia. Aisha.